Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a ferret. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. To the left, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. Make this circle slightly bigger. Ferrets have long bodies, so don't place these circles too close together. On the top right side, draw another circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle as well. Make this circle slightly smaller than the first circle. The edge of this circle and the first circle should touch. Inside the head circle, draw a curved horizontal line. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. On the top part of the head, draw a curved vertical line for another construction guide. On the bottom half of the head, draw a small circle as a guide for the muzzle. Pay attention to the size of the muzzle in relation to the head. The bottom of the muzzle should be outside of the head. On top of the head, draw 2 curved lines as guides for the ears. The ears should be similar to small arcs. Don't draw the ears too high up on the head. Under the first circle, draw an angled line as a guide for the front leg. Bend the line a couple of times near the middle to indicate joints, and then again at the bottom for the foot. To the right, draw a shorter angled line as a guide for the other front leg. Under the circle on the left, draw another long angled line as a guide for the hind leg. At the bottom, bend the line to the right as a guide for the foot. Draw another angled line to the right as a guide for the other hind leg. Connect the head to the body using sloping lines to create the guide for the neck. The shape of the neck should be wide. Connect the body circles using 2 long lines to create the guide for the torso. Make the lines curved. On the left side of the body, draw a long curved line as a guide for the tail. Curve this line to the right. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch 2 small circles for the eyes. Place the eyes on top of the horizontal construction guide and on either side of the vertical guide. Don't make the eyes too big in relation to the head. When you get the sizes and positions of the eyes right, darken the shapes. As you darken the shapes, make the sides pointier for the corners of the eyes. The outer corners of the eyes should point up toward the ears. The inner corners of the eyes should point down toward the muzzle. Draw a couple of curved lines around the eye for creases. Make the eye on the right slightly smaller because the head is turned. Make the lines around the eye on the right smaller. Keep these lines close to the shape of the eye. Inside each eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for highlights. In the middle of each eye, draw a small circle and shade it in for the pupils. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circles as you shade the pupils. Inside the muzzle, lightly sketch a small oval for the nose. Place the nose close to the right edge of the muzzle. The nose should be big in relation to the muzzle. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. On the sides of the nose, draw short curved lines for the nostrils. On the inner tips of the lines, draw small circles and shade them in for the nostrils openings. Make the nostril on the right smaller because the head is turned. Use curved lines to darken the bottom and top of the nose. Add a few short strokes on top of the nose for fur. Under the nose, draw a curved line for the mouth. Curve the middle of the mouth up so that it's close to the nose. Curve the sides of the mouth downward. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the mouth when you get the shape right. Use the small initial circle as a guide to draw the sides of the muzzle. Make the muzzle slightly wider than the initial circle. Darken the bottom edge of the circle to create the chin. Use a series of short strokes to create a furry texture. Use the arc on the top left side of the head as a guide to draw the first ear. Darken the guide but extend the bottom lines so that the ear is inside the head. Make the shape curvier. Draw a few short strokes within the shape for the fur that's inside the ear. Darken the arc on the right to create the other ear. Add a few short strokes within the shape of the ear for the fur. Use the initial circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Follow the basic path of the circle to create the shape of the head. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the shape of the head to create a furry texture. Make the right side of the head slightly wider than the initial circle. Follow the curvature of the circle as you draw the strokes. Darken the line on the left for the back of the neck. Use the second line from the right that's under the body as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and then gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. At the bottom, curve the shape to the right to create the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the shape to create a furry texture. On the tip of the foot, draw a couple of curved lines to separate the toes. Not all the toes will be visible from this angle. On the tip of each toe, draw a small triangular shape for the claws. Use the line to the right as a guide to draw the other front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the foot wide and the bottom thin. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Draw a couple of curved lines on the tip of the foot for the toes. Add a small triangular shape on the tip of each toe for the claws. Use the angled line on the far left side as a guide to draw the hind leg. Just like with the front legs, first lightly sketch the shape of the hind leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and the bottom narrow. The top of the hind leg should be wider than the top of the front leg. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Curve the shape of the leg around the path of the guide to create the joints. Draw a couple of curved lines on the tip of the foot to create the toes. Add small triangular shapes on the tips of the toes for the claws. Use the line on the right as a guide to draw the other hind leg. Sketch the leg lightly around the guide and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. On the tip of the foot, draw curved lines for the toes and small triangular shapes for the claws. Draw the visible portion of the top of the leg using short strokes. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the shape of the body to create a furry texture. Make the strokes along the underside of the body longer. Use the curved line on the left side as a guide to draw the tail. Draw the shape of the tail around the guideline. Use a series of short strokes for a furry texture. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use a dark value to shade the inside of the ears and the eyes. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circles inside the eyes as you shade. Use a dark value to shade the section around the eyes. As you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the fur. On the head, the strokes radiate outward from the nose. Use the dark value to shade the top of the head. Shade the nose using a dark value. Leave a thin strip blank on the nose for a highlight. Add a lighter value to the rest of the head. Leave the main part of the muzzle blank for white fur. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Shade the rest of the body using a medium value. Change the orientation of the strokes as you shade the body. The strokes on the body should have a diagonal and horizontal orientation. Use a darker value to shade the legs. Don't shade too smoothly, a rough value will create more texture on the fur. Use a dark value to shade the tail. Use a darker value throughout the body to create some shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Draw a series of long strokes on the sides of the muzzle for the whiskers. Draw a cast shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the ferret. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.